do you really want? Not what sounds good, not what others expect of you, not what fits the mold. What do you, in the quiet center of your soul, truly want out of this life? Because that's where it begins. Not in noise, not in luck, not in waiting for someone to give you permission. It begins when a person, just like you, dares to say, "This is what I want, this is what I will give my life to." And when you do, the entire world shifts. Because the world doesn't reward the passive. It doesn't move for the vague. It bends only for the clear, the committed, the unshakable. You see, success has never been about chance. It's about choice. And more than that, it's about clarity. Earl Nightingale once said, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Not a fantasy, not a wish, a worthy ideal. Something bold enough to scare you, yet real enough to touch. Something that calls you out of bed before the sun does. Something that whispers, keep going long after others have stopped. So many drift, so few decide the truth." You don't need more motivation. You don't need more time. You need a direction, a decision, so absolute it cuts through your excuses like steel through silk. Do you know where you're going? Can you say it in one sentence the way a ship's captain knows his next port? Because life isn't random, it's exact. The law of cause and effect does not bend. You either direct your mind or it directs you. You either serve with value or you wait in vain. You either rise by design or you sink by default. Let's get one thing straight. The world owes you nothing. Not a cent, not a favor, not a break. But it will give you everything, every reward, every ounce of abundance, every whisper of greatness, if you learn to play by its laws. And here's the most sacred law of all. Your rewards are always in exact proportion to your service. Not almost, not kind of, exactly. This is not motivational fluff. It's the immovable law of life. Like gravity, like fire. It doesn't care if you don't believe it, it just is. So if your rewards are small, look at your service. If your influence is weak, look at your value. If your life feels stagnant, look at your direction. Most people never do. They keep waiting for permission, for signs, for someone to choose them. But no one is coming. No one. The winners, the 5%, they don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. They rise before the world tells them they're worthy. And because of that, the world bows. Understand this. We're all born with two deep, burning desires to serve meaningfully and to achieve freedom. And yet, 95% of people never fulfill either. Why? Because they never make the decision. They never define the ideal. They live surrounded by the noise of the average. They conform, they copy, they settle. They confuse movement with progress and busyness with purpose. They mistake the crowd for wisdom and the easy road for the right one. But the truth is brutal and beautiful. If you want uncommon success, you must become an uncommon person. You must do what the many never will. And that starts in the one place most people never think to look: the mind. Your mind is the richest mine in the world, but most leave it untouched. They walk over gold and settle for dust. Everything you seek, the wealth, the impact, the freedom, the peace, it all begins with mastering your own thoughts, because we become what we think about. This is not a metaphor. It is a law. Think chaos, get chaos. Think purpose, get purpose. Think scarcity, live in fear. Think abundance, and the world becomes fertile. The problem is most people don't think. Not really. They react. They regurgitate. They adopt the thoughts of the 95% and wonder why they get the results of the 95%. But you, if you're still listening, you're not most people. You want more. And that more is earned, not wished for. It's earned through discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. It's not sexy. It's early mornings. It's staying the course when the excitement dies. It's showing up when no one is watching, when no one claps, when it's just you and the mirror. The disciplined understand that boredom is part of mastery. They don't need novelty to stay the course. They don't chase dopamine. They chase destiny. And that destiny is written by action, not dreams. Because vision without execution is hallucination. A plan without action is a lie you tell yourself to sleep at night. But when vision and action marry, they birth miracles. This is the truth most ignore. There is no secret. There is no shortcut. There is only work intentional, aligned, service-driven work. But when your work becomes a calling, when your action aligns with your deepest purpose, then it stops feeling like labor. It becomes a rhythm, a flow, a sacred offering. The average man sees work as a burden. The master sees it as a gateway. And buried in that gateway is your greatness. Greatness doesn't shout, it whispers. It whispers through the pages of old books, the silence of reflection, the fatigue of late nights. It whispers in your discomfort. It whispers in your resistance. It whispers every time you say, I'll try, and a louder voice inside you says, no, I will. Greatness lives inside you, but it will not emerge until you choose to awaken it and pay its price. And what is that price? Sacrifice. You must be willing to let go of the old you, the uncertain you, the lazy you, the comfortable you, so the next version can be born. You must sacrifice distraction for focus, comfort for growth, excuses for responsibility, and fear for faith. Faith not in luck, but in the law. Faith not in chance, but in change. Faith that if you hold the vision and move your feet, the world will respond, because it always does. The world is not blind to effort. It is not deaf to service. And it is never, ever ungrateful to the person who lives in alignment with their purpose and pours themselves completely into it. But it tests you first. It places distractions in your path. It throws silence around your efforts. It watches to see if you'll keep going when there's no applause, no validation, no audience. Because that's where greatness is forged, not in light, but in shadow. Not in peak moments, but in persistent ones. When your hands are blistered, your spirit is tired, and you choose to keep showing up anyway. You see, the people you admire, the Edisons, the Carnegies, the Fords, they weren't born chosen. They were born ordinary, and they made the decision to live extraordinarily. They found their obsession. They locked into it like a lighthouse to the shore. And while others wandered, they remained. While others blamed, they built. While others waited, they acted. That's how empires are made, not by magic, but by momentum. And momentum begins the moment you stop waiting and start moving. Now, here's something they won't teach you in school. Your environment is more powerful than your willpower. If you're surrounded by the 95%, you will think like them, speak like them, act like them, unless you break the cycle. Unless you guard your mind the way you would guard a treasure chest full of gold. Because your mind is the treasure. It holds the blueprint of the life you're building. And if you let noise into that blueprint, doubt, fear, distraction, you will build a palace made of sand. So protect it. Limit your exposure to negativity. Cut off the conversations that drain your spirit. Step away from the mediocre opinions of people who've never dared to dream. Instead, go inward. Read timeless books. Study greatness like a surgeon studies anatomy. Feed your mind with clarity, faith, and fire daily, relentlessly, obsessively. Because the mind, like a muscle, grows only with use. And if you don't control it, someone else will. And here's the next truth most miss. Everything you desire is already here. The world is abundant. There is no shortage of wealth, opportunity, or impact, only a shortage of clarity, courage, and consistency. If you knew that your deepest goal, your truest dream could be yours in 5 years, if you went all in, would you still hesitate? Would you still wake up at 8, scroll until noon, and drown your potential in distraction? Would you still chase quick dopamine and call it happiness? Or would you finally rise? Because 5 years will pass anyway, and they will either build your destiny or bury your regret. So let me ask you again, what do you want? Not someday, not when it's safe, not when others approve. What do you want now with your whole soul? Because once you define it clearly, boldly, vividly, the universe begins to bend in your direction. You'll feel it. The ideas will come. The people will show up. The energy will rise. Not because of magic, but because you're finally aligned. Desire unlocks energy. Clarity creates power. Purpose fuels resilience. And when those three converge, desire, clarity, purpose, the impossible becomes inevitable. But don't just stop at clarity. Fuel it with discipline. Every day, wake up with intention. Know what you're working on and why. Let your calendar reflect your priorities, not your distractions. And here's the secret to mastering time. Don't manage it, command it. Break your goals into battle plans. Guard your mornings like a king guards his throne. Start your day with the hard thing, the real thing, the thing that moves you forward. Because when you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days in a row, you win your life. But life will fight back. There will be setbacks, rejection, silence, confusion, delay. That's not failure. That's feedback. Every failure is a course correction, a compass nudge, not a condemnation.